Today we're diving into a topic that is really exciting, but also quite challenging. The transition from being a peer to being a leader. Whether you're facing this transition or you're preparing yourself for it, this video will provide you with some tips on how to manage this with your peers. Now let's not sugarcoat this. While you will be quite excited about the next step in your career if you are transitioning into the management role or leadership role, it can really be a challenge, because if you're friends with those people that you're about to manage, this is going to be a tricky maneuver. So the first challenge is that transition with your peers. As you find your feet, you may no longer be seen as a trusted confidant and friend by your peers. And you could feel this feeling of isolation and some awkwardness as you go through this period. It could also be that as they work close to you, they may see this as a great opportunity to get a free pass with you in the role. Or they could have also applied for the job and they might be kind of annoyed that you got chosen and they didn't. So there could be a little bit of resentment heading your way. I would address these issues head on and right from the start. So if you have the individual who wanted the job and wasn't successful, and they have expressed this to you, I would acknowledge this with them and sit them down to listen to what they have to say. I would ask them if they have any concerns about this change and how I could work with them moving forward to support them, particularly if they still want to step into a leader role. Obviously, they're not going to be able to get the leader role that you just got, but there could be other opportunities that you could help them work towards and set up a bit of a development plan for them. If they did think that they were going to get the role, then they must have some kind of leadership skills that they've been working on already that has set them on that path. And I would want to continue with that momentum with them so that they stay on that path. Now, this won't be one conversation and done. You'll need to build this trust and show how you can support them. So I wouldn't go too deep on this conversation in that first round. It's just really giving them the opportunity and the open door so that they can start to talk to you. And then I just chip away at it over time. Now, the situation for the colleagues who think their life is going to be so much better for them now that you're in charge, you're going to have to set some pretty clear expectations. If they are expressing this to you directly, you'll need to respond directly in kind. You'll have to explain that the dynamics of the relationship will be different now, and that you need to be fair and consistent across the whole team. It is another one that's going to have to be built over time. You'll also want to establish your own boundaries with this as well. I have been in the situation of transitioning from a peer to a manager with my team, and I just subtly pulled back a bit. So I didn't call them directly for a chat anymore or send them messages that weren't work related about different things. And over time, that dynamic just slightly shifted without it being a great big deal. So I didn't make some big announcement how I'm not going to be your friend anymore. I just changed my behavior a little bit and just changed my boundaries a little bit. There were definitely times where I had to stop myself from making a comment about something I would normally have weighed in on, but it wasn't that dramatic of a change. It is more about that mindset of being a leader. And if you've been preparing yourself to be a leader already, then you'll already have some kind of professionalism that you operate within, whether you're friends with people or not at work. I go more into this, building your leadership brand and how you behave at work, in my video, which I'll link on the screen as well if you're interested. A leadership mindset isn't about having a title or authority. It's a way of thinking or behaving that sort of sets it apart. As a peer, you are primarily focused on your individual tasks and goals. However, as a leader, your focus expands to encompass the team as a whole, not individuals. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Nikki. I've been in leadership for 17 years and have built my career from leading just 2 people to leading leaders on multiple sites and locations. And if you're getting some value from this video, can you please like and subscribe? It really helps me out a lot. Now, you'll probably be a bit nervous about how people will perceive you in this new leadership role, and you could feel quite self-conscious. And this is where you're going to have to build your credibility. You may have the situation where your peers are actually excited for you, which is great. But if you haven't worked as a manager before, you will need to spend time showing your credibility to the team. I would start with utilising any resources or training that the organisation can offer you. I also do a lot of my development work in the mornings when I'm using the treadmill at home. So I'll listen to podcasts or audiobooks or watch YouTube videos to help build things that I know that I need that perhaps I'm struggling with in my leadership. Building credibility isn't just going to happen. You're going to have to show it through your actions and your behaviours. So invest in developing your leadership skills and take advantage of any training or resources so that you can enhance your leadership capability. I would also suggest a mentor to help you through this transition. It could be there's someone that you know that has gone through a similar transition from peer to manager that you could get some advice from. Someone outside of the situation too can also provide a bit of support when you need it and a different perspective to help you. If you are feeling really uncomfortable, just remember that it will pass. After a few weeks or a month, you'll really start finding your feet in your leadership role and you'll move on from being worried about what everybody else is thinking about you. The first few weeks could be awkward at first as you try and establish your new routine and way of working with your individual team members. But I have found that being a leader means that you're getting work from all sorts of directions and you're trying to solve problems, and you find yourself so busy in actually getting things done and trying to move things forward that you'll forget your awkwardness after a while and you'll move right on from it and you'll start really building yourself into the leadership role. In my view, this is a lot easier if you deal with these awkward conversations like we've talked about right up front so that they're done. You've dealt with it, you don't have this elephant in the room where you know that somebody is potentially thinking something about you and you haven't addressed it. Encourage your team to give you feedback too. Remember, they know that you worked with them as a peer and they know your experience and skills very well. So actually being a little bit vulnerable and saying, hey, I really want you guys to help me out by giving me a bit of feedback and letting me know what worked well for you with our previous manager and what you'd like to see that's slightly different. And that can help build that trust too. Remember to stay who you fundamentally are too. Don't try and put on a new suit as a leader and change who you are. Because again, all of those people that you're now leading, they knew you as a peer. So if you turn up the next day as somebody quite different, that is not going to come across as authentic for them. And I don't imagine that they're going to respond that well to it. Authenticity is the key to earning trust and respect from your team. They know how you act, they know what you value and where your strengths lie. So continue to develop yourself as you build into the leadership role and be your authentic self. If things do get really tricky with individual team members and you need to have a more difficult conversation with them, I've linked my video on the screen on how to have difficult conversations, so check out that video, and thanks very much for watching.